Hello, we are finally trying the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande Primary Manipulation 1, which looks more like Primary Manipulation Light. Because of the coloring and the transparency, I could be wrong. I saw two people with PM1 Lite, one from the San Francisco pen show this year, and the other one from a pen maker that I'm not too familiar with. One is Leonardo, the one from the pen show, and the other one is not. So as you can see, usually primary manipulation that is extremely high gloss, which I bought one from, I can't remember who it was, but it was so high sheen that you could see through the layers, but you can't see through. Here, you could see through and see the piston. Hold on a second. I'm not sure what's going on with my focus there. So if you could see, there's the piston there, because the ink is Pelikan Violet. This one here, I was gifted a sample by a friend and absolutely fell in love with it. I do like my purples, if you haven't noticed. My ultimate favorite is the Manuel KB from Sailor, but that's more magenta. This is more bright purple violet. As before, I'm still coughing and I will have to edit them bit by bit. And if I miss any, as I have done with a couple of videos, please forgive me in advance. So, and when it sits against the light, I can't really tilt it, but I don't know if you could see, it gives that light from the back was quite nice in a way that my other primary manipulation cannot. So as I said, with the high gloss, you can't often see through, but one particular maker managed to do it so high gloss in a way that you could see through all the layers of colors, like seeing into a deep ocean filled with colors. And so it makes me think that the layering here maybe is not as much, or the wall is thinner. I mean, the material is thinner maybe because it requires a lot more internal volume for the piston, while the ones that I have are mainly converter and mainly hand-turned or homemade handmade pens. But my other Leonardo with PM1, I'll show you in a different video, behave very differently. It's not opaque, but you can't see through it, but you could see through all the layers of color, and every time you look at it, it seems to look different. So, okay, so that's the outer. Now, this is the Grande, is quite big, the weight, the girth and everything, but it's actually too big for my hand. So it opened up in about 1.5 turns. So let me show you again. So it's 1, and that's already open. Usually it takes me a couple of turns at least. So when this came, the cap was already a little bit loose. It was half open. So you open 1 and that's open. So I don't know if it's just me or whether, I don't think the threading is any shorter, but it is definitely, it feels definitely a lot more shallow. This is my first titanium nib, and this is Tomoe River paper, and this is from Hobonichi 2023. So I believe 2023 still uses the old Tomoe River paper stock, even though the Tomoe River paper company have closed shop and another paper company have taken over. I think there may have been a slight tweaking in the formula, I'm not sure, but I know that the new batch apparently feels slightly different. I can't remember. I remember one year, definitely not 2024, because I didn't participate in the whole Hobonichi ritual in 24. Potentially 22 or 23, they gave you samples of the new batch so that we kind of get used to it. I thought that was a really good way of managing your expectation. So note that, and when the 2025 Hobonichi arrive, I'll try that. It's definitely a new batch. Then I'll try this nib, this ink, this pen on the new Tomoe River paper, just so that we don't conflate the nib and the ink with the paper. So we'll make sure that everything remains the same except for the paper. So time of truth now. Let's see how this writes. can't really, can I? I'm in a really interesting setup at the moment. This is not exactly a tripod, it's actually a phone holder that I'm using as a tripod. So its range of motion is pretty limited. So my first titanium nib, Violet Pelikan ink in a medium, I think. Yes, medium. Is that right? Yeah, medium. Leonardo's own ink, owns nib. But I think it could be Yovo. I'm not sure if it's Yovo spec. So you could see the squares. This is on the Hobonichi wheat. Interesting. It reminds me of Sailor without the heft, without the density. It's that pencil feedback, which I love. Quite wet. Sorry. There's a little bit, there's some scratchy points there. I'm not sure if it's how I hold it, because let me show you how I hold it. I tend to hold my pens like this, and because this girth is actually slightly too big for me, if you can see there's a gap there. Usually there's no gap around my 3 fingers here, so I have to adjust the way I write, maybe with a gap up here, because it's very uncomfortable with the gap here because you put a lot of pressure down here. So I'm not sure if it's the angle that I'm holding, but I found some scratchy points there. So that's very scratchy. I mean, it's nothing. Here goes. Shall we do, I don't do this, I don't do upside down, but for your record, I suppose. Whoops, hold on. So the upside down, if you hold it in a slightly lower angle, is very comfortable and smooth. But if you do it a little bit high, it's a little bit scratchier. Side, yeah, the side is not that great. I don't know how the side's supposed to perform. That doesn't come out at all. Okay, maybe. I just inked it actually. So, and then we go up like this. There you go. Let's do the side. Side. So that side doesn't really like it there. And let's say you go to this side. How about this side and this way? Nope, not this way either. Yeah, I don't know what that means. So this way on the side, this side. Very, very scratchy. Okay, let's not do that. Let's not tempt fate. Side, 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 down, down, upside, side, side, side. And again, people say that different nib perform differently, even though it's the same maker, the same material, the same company. Okay, this way is a little scratchy. This way is smoother. Maybe it's the way I angle it, I'm not sure. The problem with living where I live is that if a nib needs tuning, I'm doomed. There's no one here to go to. So let's try again. That is smooth enough. That's how I actually write, and this is just for reference. Yeah, I could feel just a little bit not dry. The ink is definitely wet. Look, that's potentially Pelikan as well, but it has the pencil feel of Sailor and Platinum, but not smooth all around. You have to really hold it in one particular angle. Its tolerance for slight variation of angling is probably, it's tuned specifically to be this way is beautiful. But if I just tilt it slightly this way or that way, it becomes, as you could see there, scratchy, and it doesn't flow. So if you tilt it this way or that way, but if it's angled right like that, there's little scratchy point there. It could, I think the nib could potentially do with a bit of tuning to how you hold your pen. Maybe, I don't know, if you have one from Leonardo, let me know, because there's a little bit of scratch there, and I think who has hers from the San Francisco Pen Show did detect a little bit of a scratch as well, and that's when I sort of was a little bit worried. I bought a lot of pens from Leonardo in the past, but this is my first in a long time. This is only my second, no. I inked 2 pens in, okay, now I'm feeling the scratch. I inked 2 pens in 2022 and 2 pens in 2023. And in 2024, actually that's not true, 2 pens there and 2 pens here, so this year. And this is only my 3rd pen in 2024. The first, if you remember, the first one was the one I bought from Tokyo, from Say Pen, and then my Platinum, if you recall, and then the one by Studio Archkakan in Turkey. Yeah, so I could feel a bit of toothiness there. So if it's right angle like this, it's all smooth. But if you move it around a little bit, and now I'm wondering whether that became a little bit scratchy because I moved it around, but it shouldn't be that fragile. It's titanium after all. The only pen tuner that I could contact is 4 or 5 hours drive from here. There's absolutely no one here. So yeah, so that's not ideal. There's just that toothiness. So I don't know if that's going to work itself out. With a gold nib, I would say it would, but because this is titanium, I'm wondering I might be stuck with it. I don't know. If you have any titanium nib, please let me know down below what your advice would be, because this is my first. And for the moment, I think I might just stick with gold. 14K usually is my comfort range there. And this titanium, and I don't know if this is Jovo's or whether this is Leonardo's own proprietary. Yeah, there's a bit of toothiness there that I'm not too happy about. Like there is really that's a tooth there. So if I just angle it a little bit like that, that's fine. But it's so specific. You have to hold it right. There's only one spot there that's really nice and smooth. And if you move a little bit away from it, it doesn't like it. So anyway, let me know if you have one of these platinum nibs. Let me know where you get them from and how did you tune it. Can you tune it yourself? Should I risk it? This is a pretty pricey pen. I am too scared of using the sandpaper method. So now it's smooth again. So the smooth spot is really narrow. If I lose that angle, it becomes quite uncomfortable. So one spot here is amazing. So it is tuned to write beautifully only on this spot here. Just this angle here. Any other angle makes it unbearably toothy and scratchy. So yeah, so that's the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. I believe this is the 2024 iteration. I'm very happy with the pen. I just need to know how to, that's the ink, how to tune the nib. So any input down below, be much appreciated. Happy weekend, bye. As it turns out, I didn't fill it up properly. So now I've refilled the piston filler and I could see a little bit more ink sloshing around. It means that there's enough ink in the pen this time, so I'm trying this again. I don't know if I was supposed to try and play around with sideways nib writing, but I was curious more than anything. The performance of the nib remains the same with a very narrow range of smooth spot and slightly toothy outside of that spot. And towards the end of this clip, you'll see a lot more ink visible through the material, sloshing around. It is quite interesting. The end evaluation is the same. It's lovely pencil-like feedback like Platinum and Sailor, but without the heft, without the feeling of slightly more solid with those nibs. This one is lighter, maybe because it's titanium instead of gold, I'm not sure. Very wet medium, same ink, ebonite feed, and with a very narrow smooth spot and low tolerance for a variety of angles before you start feeling the tooth.